I've done these finger puppet videos for a long time, and I always talk about these weird variants that show up with the earlier figures especially. I'm so excited to actually kind of go into that today. From the Pokemon Finger Puppet line I get at Planet Fun, and I do no research on because I need surprise in my life, these are a few Sandshrew and one Sandslash, and here's the thing, right? All three Sandshrew released in the same year. They were all released in 1996, Sandslash was 1997. But as you can see, there's differences in the color layouts for all three of them. And this happens so often in the early guys. And a lot of it just comes down to the fact that Pokemon was so popular so fast, especially in Japan and North America, where Nintendo just had to make anything they could to capitalize. That's the reason they went with Finger Puppets. And thankfully the Finger Puppets were so well done and so well received that they've continued to this day. But that was the whole reason. This merchandise line has so many separate variants, so many separate, not QC issues, but lack of consistency in these decisions, entirely because it was a rush job. It was the single greatest rush job Nintendo's probably ever had to deal with just to make money where it was on the table. And it leads to these really fun variants, as you can see here. We'll get started with this guy because he's actually meant to be a variant. The Finger Puppets are not blind box. I've actually had a few of their boxes from Planet Fun. They're not blind boxed. You know the Pokemon you're getting, but the translucent versions are chase variants. You don't know if you're getting them or not, so the idea is that you would buy a few copies hoping to get the rarer version. And normally I'm not big on the translucent variants, but I do like this guy just because it still looks like Sandshrew and the color layout is more or less unaltered, which I think is great. We'll go to this pale yellow guy next, mostly because I think this was the one that's kind of intended, because as you can see, they both have white as the snout and underbelly. But very pale yellow on the go, and in my mind's eye, this is what Sandshrew is supposed to look like in terms of colors, and it's just adorable. I love everything about them. I hate that there's a bit of paint damage, but it's just what you gotta deal with, especially when you're dealing with secondhand toys. Lastly, for the Sandshrews, we have this very mustard yellow Sandshrew with tan as a snout and underbelly. Pulling out the other guy, you can see just completely separate choices made for the colors. Not the layouts, because the deco choice in terms of how you put these colors on are all, the same. The consistency entirely comes from color of plastic used, color of paint used. And once again, that just comes down to how many factories were having to pump these out as quickly as possible. Hey Sandslash, you look fine. Translucent, good sculpt. I like you a lot. Good job. I love this little group so much.